Hello, and welcome to week 14 live chat for HIM115 Medical Records and the Law. And the law we're going to talk about this week is the Federal False Claims Act. This is an incredible federal legislation that is directly focused at medical coding and billing professionals because it makes the submission of a claim to a federal agency containing false information an illegal act. So it's more than just fraud, it's actually law breaking. Now, what's interesting is the federal government can pass legislation like this, but it can only adjudicate claims submitted to it, the federal government, which means it would only cover claims sent to Medicare, Medicaid, and TRICARE. Okay, so what happened is virtually every individual state in the United States has passed a state version of the False Claims Act to make it illegal to submit a claim with false information to any licensed insurer doing business in that state. So that will cover your private submissions as well as submitting claims to the Medicare and Medicaid fiduciary agents that are in the state. Remember, Medicare and Medicaid are federal programs, state administered. So if an individual and or facility is charged with a violation of the Federal False Claims Act, very often they can then also be charged with violation of the state False Claims Act. And what that will do is magnify the fines, the penalties, and the consequences, prison or jail, when found guilty. Okay, so the interesting thing that exists in this law is the knowledge requirement. So essentially, the law states that the simple action of submitting a claim with false information is not a violation of the False Claims Act. It requires the knowledge that the individual must know that the information on the claim is false. Interesting, huh? But what does know mean? There are three different kinds of know. Of course, you know, this is the legal system. They're not going to make it simple, right? So there's actual knowledge, knowing for a fact that the information is false. Okay. Then there's willful ignorance, also known as deliberate ignorance. And this covers everybody else, okay, who is a medical coding and billing professional, because this includes those who should know due to their job position. So if your job is being a medical coder or a medical biller, you should know. Due to your training, which means if you're in this program or any other program, you should know. Or your responsibilities within the organization regarding the filing of the claim. So anybody who touches this claim, you should know what you're doing, and you purposely don't ask about the validity of the information or ignore the falsity of the information. So for example, the doctor tells you directly, oh, we're going to charge for this, code for that, so the insurance will pay. You learned about that when we talked about fraud, remember? Well, now It's also a violation of the False Claims Act if you go ahead and take the direction to put false information on the claim. This also makes you legally responsible for the accuracy of the claim, not just the doctor who created the documentation. Okay. And the third type of no is disregard of the truth or falsity, behavior that exhibits an indifference to confirming that the information is true. So these are the people that sit at the desk and say, well, I don't know whether or not he gave her that shot or gave her that treatment because I wasn't here. I was in my office. I didn't see. I don't know. You know, but you don't ask. You don't know. You could swear that you don't know. But the bottom line is you should know. If it's your job to touch a claim form, you should know, which means the violation is yours as well as whoever else is involved. And this is very, very important about this law is there's no longer, well, I was just doing what I was told. I was just following orders. Yeah, that didn't really work well after World War II. But, you know, the fact is that for those of you who are training to go in and become medical coding and or billing professionals, the fact remains is that you not only have an ethical obligation to tell the truth, you have a legal obligation to tell the truth. And again, remember that any physician or office manager or whomever that says to you, go ahead and put this on the claim form, it's okay. These are not the characters. This is not the character of someone who's going to say, oh, Your Honor, no, I told her to do it. She's totally innocent. She didn't know. That's not the character of someone who has somebody else do their dirty work for them. Okay. This also includes doctors and anyone else in the office who is charged with creating the claim form from whatever the doctor circles on some piece of paper. Okay. If you touch the claim form, and yes, I know it's all in the computer, so you're not going to have actual fingerprints on it, but it's coming from your computer station, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You think they can't track that back? And again, you think a doctor that's doing this and not hiring a certified coder and letting that certified coder do the right thing, you think this is the character of a human being that's going to stand up and say, it's my responsibility, don't put them in jail, put me in jail? You think that's going to happen? No. That's why they hired you, to push you around and make you the fall guy. You got to know, though, that ignorance of the law is no excuse, especially when knowledge of the law is a requirement of your job. Okay? All right. I also want to tell you, you may remember when we talked about HIPAA, we talked about key tam, and this same whistleblower statute is included in the Federal False Claims Act and the State False Claims Act. And so just to review, key tam, it's spelled QUI, but it's pronounced key. Key tam, the key tam provision known as the whistleblower statute gives you the power to stand up and provide evidence and file a lawsuit on behalf of the federal government or the state government when a facility or an individual in a facility is is non-compliant with the False Claims Act, whether federal or state levels. Okay. Now, here's the good part. They know that reporting this is really hard. And they depend on people who are actually there inside that facility to report this, because that's the only way we're going to be able to catch these people who are breaking the law. Because the federal government agents, auditors, they cannot be in every room, everywhere, every office. We need good, honest people like you to stand up and say, you know what, that's not right. So they reward you with anywhere from 15 to 30% of what the government will collect as a result of that lawsuit. Okay. Now, these lawsuits usually end up in the millions of dollars. So you do the math. This also can provide you with a reassurance that while these lawsuits can take a while, you know, maybe even a couple of years, that if you're worried about getting fired, although I wouldn't tell anybody that I work for, I would just go to the lawyer, okay? But the fact is that if you're worried about getting fired or not being able to get another job, at least at the end of this, you know that you will have money so that you can continue to live, okay? 30% of $1 million is $300,000, right? $30,000. $300,000. This is why they don't let me teach math, although I'm good at math. It is $300,000. Okay. And most of these lawsuits are in the tens of millions. Okay. Not the point. You don't do this for the money. The money is there as a reward for you for standing up and speaking up about what is right. And, you know, a lot of times when we talk about healthcare, especially healthcare in the United States, one of the first things that comes up is how expensive healthcare is. And that's true. And there are a lot of contributing factors to that. But one of the biggest contributing factors to the high cost of healthcare is fraud. Is these people who are billing and coding and taking money that does not belong to them legitimately. So when we, the good guys, stand up for what is right, there should be a reward for you. And there is a reward for you. And it's written right into the law. Just saying. Okay. So collect your evidence when you're in a situation like that. And there are key TAM lawyers who can help you and support you in this process should you find yourself working for someone who is not only unethical, but non-compliant with the Federal False Claims Act or the State False Claims Act. Okay? When we band together, the good guys band together, and we do what we can against the people who are doing wrong, we can really make this world better. And that is a good thing to know when you put your head on your pillow at night. Okay, this week is week 14. Our discussion is, surprise, surprise, about the Federal False Claims Act. And I want you to talk about, in your own words, specifically how this applies to you. And there is a copy of the Federal False Claims Act summary located in the course room. I want you to read that to really understand about the law. And of course, if you have any questions, email me. All right. Homework, read the chapter, answer the questions. You can do this. And as I said, the Federal False Claims Act summary can be found in the course room. So that way you don't have to worry about reading the actual law, which, you know, is written in politician, which is even worse than medical terminology. And in addition to that, I don't want you going to any random websites and getting inaccurate interpretations of this law. Okay? All right. Remember, I am here for you. I'm your coach. I'm your support. Email me. Ask me questions. I love it when students ask questions. We can even speak on the phone or do a Skype, Zoom, FaceTime, whatever makes you happy, whatever's easiest for you. I'm here to make sure that you leave this course with the knowledge you need to be successful in your career. Okay? Have a great evening.